Trees Lounge is a 1996 American film written and directed and starring Steve Buscemi and stars, well, Steve Buscemi, Carol Kane, Mark Boone Jr., Chloe Sevigny, so many more. The plot follows Tommy, played by Steve Buscemi, an out of work mechanic and total dirtbag, kind of likable dude. His character is really, in my opinion, not that far off from Jeff Bridges' portrayal of the dude from The Big Lebowski, of course. This was also Steve Buscemi's first time behind the director's chair, something he does dabble in from time to time, although I don't know if I've ever seen anything else that he's directed. He used Lisa Rinsler as a cinematographer here, who was already a veteran in the industry, and there are some pretty artful shots that I really appreciated. She's very good. And a fun fact about Trees Lounge is that it was an influence on David Chase, who went on to create The Sopranos. And Steve Buscemi was a fan of The Sopranos and would actually go on to direct 4 episodes and would join the cast as a character on season 5, one of the better seasons in my opinion. And to add to The Sopranos connection, Trees Lounge even has appearances by Michael Imperioli and John Ventimiglia, and this was 4 years before The Sopranos ever started. But despite all of that, everything I just said, this is not a mobster film of any sort, just a character-driven drama/comedy. And alongside the actors I named, this film is just full of familiar faces. It's also got character actors like Anthony LaPaglia, Debbie Mazar, Daniel Baldwin, Sam Jackson, and a young Chloe Sevigny. I did mention her at the beginning, and there's many more. It's almost like Steve Buscemi called in as many favors as he could. But by 96, I mean, he was already established and well respected. I mean, he's always been one of my favorite actors, underrated, and one of the greats, I think. This was a real good watch. I found the simple storyline to be super engaging, and I liked it more and more as it went along. I think it really highlights the working class life in suburban New York and the struggles of us regular people. And the one thing that all of the characters in this film have is the Trees Lounge itself, which is a bar that all of the characters frequent. I actually had to pause this review and go get a beer myself. Oh my gosh, I'm terrible. And I have to say, I've never been to New York, but the Trees Lounge feels like a bar I have been to many times over. And that's what makes this film so great. It just feels real. All of the performances are perfect for what they need to be. Tommy, on paper at least, should be a terrible person. But he isn't. People are complex. There's a lot of nuance, and nobody's perfect. And there are so many factors that determine whether someone is good or bad. He makes a lot of bad decisions, but he's conscious of all of them. There's something to be said about that. And he really wants to do better, to be better. He's just not there yet. I mean, I haven't made half the mistakes that he has, but I can relate on some level. His life is a mess, His brother is now with his ex, who is pregnant, and he regrets not making things right with her. And he lost his job because he borrowed money from the safe or whatever, and he's definitely an alcoholic. He's a pain in everyone's ass, but there's a reason that he isn't necessarily hated. And it's because, people know that he means well. Veteran character actor Mark Boone Jr. turns in a very good performance here as well, which should come as no surprise. I mean, there's a reason why the man continues to get work to this day, with no struggle at all, it seems. And he plays Mike, a family man who owns a moving company, who moved out of the city for a simpler life. And his character brings the underlining of marital struggles as the guy who, loves his family but struggles to see eye to eye with his wife. It's the perfect picture of a marriage that is either on the brink of resolving itself or just completely falling apart. And it's kind of both. And this might sound like a super depressing film, and in a way it is, but not necessarily intentionally. To me, it just, again, it kind of highlights the real-life struggles of small-town, everyday people that worked hard for, what little they have. Nobody in this movie has much money at all. Most of them drive cars that barely run. I'm giving Trees Lounge a 7.5 out of 10. after I got into it, I just started feeling like I was just watching people live their lives. It's got that fairly realistic feel with solid performances by prolific character actors, and all of Steve Buscemi's talents are highlighted here. Check it out. Cheers, guys.